Berg, realtor with Bridgewell Real Estate Group, and in today's Tri-Cities Neighborhood Guide video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 different sub-areas in Coquitlam: Harbour Chines, Harbour Place, and Chineside. These are 3 neighborhoods that are all really close together, kind of around the central area of Coquitlam, bordering Port Moody on the north side. I'm going to go through everything that you need to know about these areas, including real estate, things to do, amenities, schools, transit, and so much more. So why don't we just get into it? So starting off with the area and main roads, just so that you can get a lay of the lands. In terms of how these 3 neighborhoods work from west to east, on the furthest west side you have Harbour Chines, then in the middle you have Harbour Place, and then furthest east you have Chineside. And so what are these neighborhoods bordered by? On that west side you have Coquitlam West, which is like Burquitlam, Lougheed, those popular areas. On the south side you're bordered by Central Coquitlam. On the east side you're bordered by Ranch Park, and then all 3 of these sub areas on the north side are actually bordered by Port Moody. So this is another reason why these neighborhoods are very popular. It's because you get that Coquitlam address, all of the benefits of Coquitlam, but you also get the benefits of Port Moody because it is just right on that north side, which is awesome. If you are thinking about main roads or transit, really the most main road that runs west to east throughout these sub areas is Como Lake. And so this is where all of the bus pickups are going to be heading westbound and eastbound. Heading westbound, you're going into Burquitlam Station, which will then connect you via the SkyTrain to the rest of the Evergreen line, or at Lougheed to the Expo and the Millennium lines. If you are heading eastbound, then we are going into Coquitlam Central SkyTrain Station, which has, of course, the SkyTrain, but also the West Coast Express Rapid Train, which will take you straight into waterfront downtown Vancouver. I think that it is really important to know that if transit is important to you for these areas, that the transit actually doesn't run throughout the side streets of the neighborhoods. It is only off Como Lake. So anybody that is living in these neighborhoods is going to have to walk up to Como Lake, so just keep that in mind. In terms of main roads, you have Gatonsbury in Harbour Chines. In Harbour Place you have Poyer, and then in Chineside you have Thermal. And so it is important to know that, you know, these areas, they run down into Port Moody. For the majority of them, they are steep as you kind of get closer to that Port Moody border. So if you don't want to be on a main road, if you don't want to be on a steep slope or anything like that, just keep it in mind. But obviously with the steep slopes, you also get amazing views, and a lot of them are northern mountain views. So that can be a pro or a con depending on where you are. One last thing to note about Port Moody is that in terms of the SkyTrain, I mean, we already talked about Coquitlam Central SkyTrain Station and Burquitlam SkyTrain Station, but depending on where you are in the sub area, you might actually be closer to Inlet SkyTrain Station, which is in Port Moody, kind of closer to Suterbrook, or you might be closer to Moody Station, which is a main bus hub, a SkyTrain, and also has access to the West Coast Express. So most of the people in this neighborhood, they have cars. I mean, we're in primarily detached homes, so it's less of an urban community. So that might be another point of reference for you to consider as well, if you are somebody that is commuting on a daily basis. A huge reason why a lot of families move to this neighborhood is because of schools. You've got a lot of different school options. You've got public schools, you've got French immersion options, and you have private Catholic schools. So starting off with public schools, I think it's important to understand how our school system works here. So for elementary school, you have kindergarten to grade 5. We have middle schools in Coquitlam, which is grade 6 to grade 8. And then we also have high schools, which is grade 9 to 12. And again, this is just for public schools. For the private schools, the way that it works is a little bit different. You just have an elementary and a secondary school. So the elementary runs from K to 7, and then the high schools run from 8 to 12 for those private schools. Going back to public schools, in these neighborhoods, you're primarily going to be serviced by Baker Drive Elementary, and Harborview Elementary. If you want that French immersion aspect, then you are going to typically Porter Elementary. For the middle schools here, you're going to see Hillcrest Middle School and Como Lake Middle School. And for the French immersion, you are going to typically go to Banting Middle School. For the high schools, which is where I'm at right now, I have Dr. Charles Best Secondary School. This is actually one of the highest rated secondary schools in all of the Lower Mainland. So this is a huge selling feature for those that are within this neighborhood and wanting to go to this school. They are a public school, and you have just the regular English version, but you also have the French immersion version. So if you are going through French immersion all the way from Porter, Banting, and then up to Charles Best, this is the school that your kids are going to go to. For the other secondary school option, you have Centennial Secondary, which is also in the neighborhood. It is just right by Central Coquitlam, which is on that south side that I was talking about earlier, and they are very well known for their athletics programs. So that really wraps up the public school system and French immersions in this neighborhood. Going back to the private schools here, you actually have Queen of All Saints Elementary School right within the sub area. It's right off Poye and Como Lake, around that neighborhood there. So as I said before, you go from K to 7, and then typically the kids get transferred to the high school, which is Archbishop Carney Secondary School, that runs from 8 to 12. It's in Port Coquitlam, and actually that is another one of the top schools in all of the Lower Mainland, specifically for private schools, but also just as a whole. So all in all, you can kind of get the feel like there are amazing schools within this sub area, and as a result of that, this is a very family-friendly neighborhood. You have a lot of people staying here for a long period of time and growing their kids from when they're really young all the way through the school system up to when they graduate, and then staying afterwards as well. If you are a family that's looking for a great neighborhood with schools, I would definitely recommend Chineside, Harbour Place, and Harbour Chines. And so these neighborhoods are primarily detached. As I said before, you see all residential, not a lot of commercial, until you really come up to Como Lake, which is where I am right now. So I'm at Como Lake Village, and this is really the main kind of retail space for anybody that's looking for immediate access to a grocer. You have No Frills, you've also got Kin's Farm Market, you've got a Shoppers, you've got smaller spaces like A&W or a sushi restaurant, bakeries, banks, a lot of different options that are right here within your immediate sub area. But if you are looking for something a little bit bigger, you've got a lot of different malls within a close proximity as well. So heading out east, you have Coquitlam Center Mall, which also has popular spaces like TNT, Superstore, Walmart, and obviously a number of retail shops. And then heading out west, you also have Lougheed, which is a primary mall, again for retail, but it's also going to be taken over as the city of Lougheed, kind of similar to that amazing Brentwood vibe. So that's going to be a completely new space as well. As I mentioned, you are bordering Port Moody for all three of these sub areas, so you get a lot of those benefits. There's a number of commercial spaces off St. John's, which is one of the main roads that runs west-east, and you're also really close to Suiterbrook Village, which has popular areas like Thrifties for a grocer, very, very good seafood selection, JJ Bean, and a number of other smaller stores. Now, if you're looking in terms of recreation, very close by to the sub area, specifically close to Harbour Place, you have the Poirier Rec Center. So this has a gym, it's got a lap pool, it's got a steam room sauna, it's got an ice rink, you've got lacrosse there. So lots of different options at that Poirier Rec Center. And right beside it, you also have the Coquitlam Public Library, and you have the Dogwood Pavilion, which is an adult recreation center for anybody looking for activities, programs, both physical, social, or educational, for anybody that is 50 plus. And all three of those, the rec center, the public library, and Dogwood, are right by Centennial Secondary School. So all in all, lots of things to do indoors within this neighborhood. You've got close access to malls, you've got close access to grocery, and you have close access to a number of gyms and recreation spaces. So So of course, getting into my favorite part, which is real estate. For these three neighborhoods, you are going to see a lot of similarities, but some slight differences. Now, in terms of the houses that you're going to get here, this is all detached. You don't have any condos, you don't have any townhouses, it's all detached homes. You are primarily going to see two-story homes throughout all three of these sub areas. And these are going to be generally in the range of 2,200 to 2,800 interior size square footage. That two-story can be in a lot of different variations, whether it's a two-story with a basement entry, whether it be a split level, whether it be a rancher with a basement, a lot of different styles of two-story homes, but you are generally going to see a two-story home. It's also very common in these neighborhoods to see a 7,000 plus square foot lot. So if you're looking for a bigger lot, these are definitely the neighborhoods you're going to want to check out. Very consistently, although all of them are above 7,000, you're consistently seeing 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 square foot lot sizes. So again, if that's something you're looking for, these are all great areas to check out. In terms of who has the closest amount of similarities, I would say it is Harbour Place and Harbour Chines. So these two neighborhoods were built primarily in the 50s and the 60s. So those are the ages that you're generally going to see. But there's also been a lot of newer development within these neighborhoods. So in these two neighborhoods, you are going to see a little bit more in terms of two-story with a basement and three-story homes, say that are built in the 90s or the 2000s, and as recently as honestly this or last year. And those homes are spanning in the 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000 square foot interior range with legal suites, big spaces. So if that's also something that you're looking for, I would say lean more to Harbour Place and Harbour Chines. Now with Chineside, the difference there is that it was built primarily in the 60s and the 70s. You are going to see a lot of ranchers with a basement. So if that's a style that you like, Chineside's a good neighborhood to check out, and you're going to see less of that newer building. But what you will see in Chineside is a little bit more frequency in terms of big lots. And when I'm talking big, I'm talking quarter acre, half an acre. That's something that you do actually see in Chineside more than you would see in Harbour Place and Harbour Chines. Now, last but not least, just to round off real estate, if you are looking for a view, then these neighborhoods are all neighborhoods you are going to want to check out. So as I mentioned before, there are steep parts of the neighborhood, specifically off of say like Gatonsbury or Thermal, and while you are on that slope and you might get a little bit of a steeper lot in general, you also get fantastic views. So a lot of the homes here offer beautiful views of the mountains heading out into Port Moody, and some even of the Burrard Inlet. So just to round this all up, you're going to want to check out this area if you're looking for a detached home. You're commonly seeing two stories. You might see two-story with a basement, or three stories if you're looking for a bigger type of home. If you're looking for a big lot, this is definitely a space you're going to want to check out. And last but not least, if you're looking for a view, you're going to love this neighborhood. If you love the outdoors, then you're definitely going to love these neighborhoods. You have everything right at your doorstep. If you're looking for something immediately within your sub areas, you have smaller options like Crestwood Park or Chines Park off-leash dog area. If you're looking for something a little bit more expansive, you have options like Como Lake Park, which is where we are right now. You've got this beautiful lake here. You have a 1 kilometer walking trail around it. You've got a little wharf where you see a lot of people do fishing. You have a playground, and actually within the winter time, a lot of the time this lake freezes over and it will be literally thick enough to skate ice hockey on. So it's the most Canadian thing you will ever see, and it's honestly a lot of fun. If you're looking more in like the Chineside area or walking distance to that and Charles Best, your best option is actually Mundy Park, which is also the largest park in all of Coquitlam. So this is huge. I mean, you've got tons of trees, walking trails, you've got an off-leash dog park. You're gonna see a lot of people running, walking the dog there. But you've also got a playground, picnic area, outdoor pool at Spaney. You've got disc golf, a lacrosse box. So honestly, lots of different options at Mundy to get out and get active. Outside of Coquitlam, but you know, on the Port Moody side, because as I said, it's bordered by that on the north, you also have a number of options. I mean, Port Moody is really well known for its hiking and mountain biking at options up at Bunsen and Belcarra. But a little bit closer and more locally, you actually have Rocky Point Park. And this is right bordered around the Burrard Inlet, so you get beautiful water options there. You've got a really nice pier. They hold a lot of events there, like Golden Spike Days. They've got Padjo's Fish and Chips, Rocky Point Ice Cream. You've got Brewers Row there with a lot of different microbreweries. So a lot of people head down there in the summer for a fun day just to explore. But it's also got a really nice walking trail all the way around to Old Orchard Park and back, which is around 5 or 6 kilometers total. So lots and lots of outdoor options between the Coquitlam and Port Moody areas that are all bordering Harbour Chines, Chineside, and Harbour Place. So no excuse to not get outside and get active. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this video was helpful so that you could learn more about Harbour Chines, Harbour Place, and Chineside in Coquitlam. If you are looking for more neighborhood videos, you can check out my YouTube channel at Bridgewell Group. I've broken down a lot of different neighborhoods within the Tri-Cities as a whole for you to check out. And there's actually more content on my website, bridgewellgroup.ca, where you can actually look at our Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Port Moody neighborhood guides for a lot of written content as well. As I said before, my name is Mariko Barrick. I'm a residential realtor in the Tri-Cities. This is really my bread and butter, and myself and my team at Bridgewell Real Estate Group are the absolute experts when it comes to real estate in the area. So if you are looking to buy or sell, definitely feel free to reach out to us anytime. Again, I hope this video was helpful. Definitely make sure to like, subscribe, or comment down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.